Yes, now we're two.
For me, I had a high school sweetheart when I was 16, 17, and then I got into a real first serious relationship at the age of 19, and I stayed in that relationship till I was 26.
Wow.
Yeah, and I moved in with the guy, and we lived together sort of like husband and wife. I was too young, I should have done that. I mean, it's hard to say that I shouldn't have done something, because everything that I did obviously led me to who I am today and put me where I am today. So I'll take that back. It's not that I shouldn't have done it. It just, if I'm speaking to my younger self, I would have maybe left that relationship sooner so that I could see the world more. And that's exactly what I did. When I left him, I moved to England. I just graduated uni. And I was doing amazing things in England and really enjoying my single life there. Those were some of the best years of my life, because me and all of my girlfriends were in our 20s and single, and just enjoying London and London nightlife and being young professionals. It was a great time of dating casually and not being attached. I think then, though, at some point I became too picky, if I'm being honest, and started to, at the time when everyone else sort of started to like pair up, I didn't feel ready yet. When people started to get engaged, which my group of friends, to be honest, happened late. Like my particular group of friends, everyone started to settle down after the age of 35, if I'm being honest. So we were all single for a really long time and having fun, and we probably kissed a couple of too many frogs, because like the men, we were choosing young men who were attractive, who had swag, who were maybe a little bit naughty, but were not really marriage material. When my friends started to settle down, I still didn't feel ready, because I still felt like there were things that I wanted to pursue, and I knew that once I became a wife, that I was going to dedicate myself to family, to husband life, and that I would put my own things in the background. And so, because I'm also African, even though I was brought up in the West, so that level of nurturing that I saw my mom give to us, I was going to want to do the same thing for my family, and that was going to require me having less time and bandwidth and energy for pursuing other entrepreneurial endeavors that I had. So it took me a little bit longer. By the time I was actually ready to settle down, I was in my late 30s. But when you get to your late 30s, that's actually quite a difficult time to find a partner, to be honest with you, because most people have coupled up, or in some cases, the people that are single, newly single, are coming out of their first marriages, right? So it's a different dynamic, and now you're having to reassess, well, do I want to be with somebody who's been divorced and already has had a family, right? These are things that now you have to consider once you get to above the age of 35 and you're still dating. And for a long time, that wasn't what I wanted. I was very much under the mindset that, no, I want somebody who's not been married before and somebody that doesn't have children, because I had not seen that in my own family, in my own lineage, and even in my own culture. But to be fair, again, I'm the very first one out of both sides of my family, mom's side and dad's side, to be born off the continent. So I was the first one to not get married in my early 20s or late teens. My grandmother was a mother in her teens, That's the reality here in Africa. So I was kind of forging a very different way for myself. I didn't follow the blueprint because I was the blueprint, as being the first one to date outside of my race, to be born off of this continent, to be exposed to as much of the world as I've been exposed to. Whereas people in my family, you saw somebody cute in the village, both sides of the family agreed to it, maybe it was arranged, maybe it wasn't, but basically it was a done deal and that was your life. I was given too many options. There are pros and cons to that, if I'm being honest with you.
Sure.
There are pros and cons to that. But I will say this, having waited to get married until later in life, I definitely was able to now date with intention, and things like swag, appeal, bad boy sort of persona were no longer of interest. And that's also when I realized that actually love is not enough. Love is not enough when it comes to a healthy relationship. Love is important, yes, but love is not the determining factor. It is my experience, and only speaking from my experience, that compatibility is more important and is a necessary ingredient to have a successful relationship. So by the time I was in my late 30s, I was already starting to feel the desire to leave the West, knowing that it's afforded me many privileges and opportunities for which I'm grateful. I also realized that this was not the place that I wanted to settle down in. So now I'm having to look for somebody who is experienced, has traveled, right, and is also open to the idea of leaving the West. That diminished my dating pool, but that at the time diminished my dating pool even more, because there's not that many men over 35 that are single, right? And if they are, they're divorced and already have had a family.
And they have traveled, and they don't have any family outside.
Right, and that are even in the headspace to consider leaving the quote-unquote comforts of the West. That's huge, right? So once I had made that decision for myself, the way I dated changed, and it took me a really, really long time to find somebody who was open to that. But I knew that I couldn't settle because I know that I can't live in the West forever. I simply can't. And things like food sovereignty are important to me, and a healthy way of living and balance are important to me, and a non-materialistic driven life is important to me. And the West is all about consumption, getting a newer car, changing your phone every year, getting a bigger house. Your kids then have to have iWatches and iPhones and iPads and Dr. Beats by Dre headphones. All of this stuff, honestly, is sickening to me. I know it's hard to hear this for a lot of you, but to me it's repulsive. It really is. And maybe it's because even though I was born in the West, I'm still a child of refugees. And when I see what my family has in Eritrea and here in Ethiopia, they don't even have flushing toilets. So all that excessiveness for me is not something that I want to strive for. It's not why I get up in the morning. It's not what I'm here to do. It's not my calling. And if it is your calling, that's okay too. But for me, it sucks my soul, quite literally. So to find now, and at this point, you have to understand also, right? And you guys will appreciate this because you're African, that my parents are both like, what are you doing? Time is ticking. But I'm like,
grandkids.
We need grandkids, and when are you going to start your legacy, yada, yada, yada. But I'm like, I'm also internally going through this dialogue and conflict of, but I can't just settle with anyone, Even though they would want me to, because there are options, sure, many options, but did I want something that was going to be short-lived just for the sake of appeasing my parents, or did I want something that was going to be fulfilling and long-term?
And your parents trying to hook you up with a lot of different
uncles. So many dates I was sent on, matchmakers, this, that, and the next. Like it was such a hard and difficult time because to them I wasn't putting in the effort, and so they required me to do this and that and what have you. And I would do all of these things and still I wasn't meeting the right person because my values and my compass was already set. And it wasn't going to change. See, by this point you have to understand too that I feel like I've already validated my life for my parents, given their sacrifices, so I'm not prepared to do it anymore. Always prepared to respect them and do the best that I can to be an example of a daughter that they raised in a respectful manner, but not at the expense of my own happiness.
Sure.
And that's why it took me as long as it did to meet this wonderful man that's next to me now, who, for lack of a better term, did check off all of those things. Wanted food sovereignty, wanted to be able to, have financial freedom, not for the sake of procuring designer bags and shoes and Ferraris, but for peace of mind, for the ability to grow into the best version of ourselves. Because I do believe that wealth is important. Accruing wealth allows you the freedom and the headspace and the energy and the bandwidth to grow into the best version of yourself. And even as an economist, I can't deny that. As a holistic practitioner, I can't deny that. You need wealth for these things, right? that is what I see. That is what I seek wealth for, not for the ability to consume and have bling and things that to me are not, me personally, not important. So I found that when I finally met him, but it took me a really long time.
She was still on the fence.
It seems too good to
already
be true.
already had
Yes.
a child.
Yes, and was in a long-term marriage.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. You've been married before, you had a kid.
Yeah. I had never, even at that age, I had never dated anyone who had been married before and had a child. He's the first. He's actually the first. Even at that age, I still had managed to avoid. But I will tell you this, single ladies, especially if you're over 35, I do believe that actually this market of men who have been married before is maybe one of the best kept secrets. Because for a man to come out of a marriage that is long term and not to come out sour and bitter, who's had a family and is prepared to do it again, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. And I would argue now, on this side of the fence, that somebody who gets to the age of 40 plus and hasn't been married maybe should be cautious. Yeah. And that's again just my experience and my opinion. None of what I'm saying is absolute, but I do believe that if you're 35 and over, tapping into this market is a good move.
So viewers, we are at the point of this channel, this video, where I get to just tell you point blank, if you take nothing from this video, single ladies, do not settle for something that you don't want. Don't settle just because society wants you to do it. Don't settle. If your values are at this point and you find a man that's here, if it's something that you don't mind losing, it's okay. But if it's a value, like someone, for instance, they need to be flexible with moving from the western side, don't settle. You know what you want, stick with it. And for the guys, I'm just gonna refresh what you said also. Don't be very visual. Look at what the goals, what the mindset of this lady is. Don't just go into it because you think, oh, she's beautiful. That's not enough. Also, collectively, love is not enough. No, it's not. I agree, love is not enough. And I do something here on this channel. I don't give myself the chance to doubt what I'm saying, because I believe I am speaking volumes. And if you have a problem with my point of view, honestly, take it up with the HR. That's normally my outro. And the HR is mostly the comment section where we will start up a conversation about what you think. Because I've given you what there has definitely been struggles, rather issues that come up when you're dating from different cultures. So what are those problems that came up and how did you deal with them? Or was it not a big deal because you are both you both have your goals aligned and he's ticking all your boxes? So did you have culture struggles when you were deciding to get together?
So that's the thing with if you decide to date someone out of your culture, that person has to be a very open-minded, a very adaptable, a very flexible person, which I am, because I like to study different cultures. I like knowing about different cultures. So when we started dating and I found out what her cultures were, I read about them. I just did the most I could to acclimate, because I knew that, because just from living where I was living, there was people from all over where I live in the States. So I was used to just adapting to different cultures. So I don't think we really struggled, because that also let me know where her mindset is and how to, understand certain things that may come up. So her family was like always surprised at how much I'm into the culture. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and it's like whoever I'm dating, because I would want that for me. I would want to treat the person the way I want to be treated, and I don't want them to feel like I'm neglecting their culture or I don't care about them because that's them, that's part of them. So I have to take the whole package with that person.
Yeah. It's funny because actually growing up in Italy for a portion of my life, I had to really gravitate, and even in Canada, I had to really but I really gravitated towards and was very enamored by the African American culture.
Yeah.
Because I was growing up in white countries, and I was the first one in my family to experience that and really experience racism. Right?
Yeah.
So I really was drawn to black music, even when I was in Italia. I was really drawn to black films and TV shows when I got to America, or Canada rather, like the Cosby Shows, Boys in the Hood. And so I became heavily immersed in the African American culture. And he was already a Rasta.
Yeah.
So when we came together, it kind of was, we both have such mutual respect for each other's cultures, and we love them both. And it made it really easy for us to bring our lives together.
And I'm always teaching her, well, not like I'm teaching, but she always learning. She's like, what did you say? It's like, oh yeah, so this means this. Like, because I think every African person is really creative, especially the way we speak. The way we put words together, wordplay and whatever.
African Americans,
So, I'm saying new terms that I'm just speaking, and she's like, what does that mean? Hold on. Oh, this is where it came from. Like, I'm always telling her where things came from. Like, if you see something in popular culture that seems new, I'm like, oh no, let me tell you where that generated from.
Like the word finna. I'm a finna. I'm finna, or
I'm fixing to. I'm finna do
something.
Like, I'm finna go there.
Me and my European friends are like, what? What does finna mean? Is it going to? And then he'll break it down into things like that, which I appreciate, because I think that the African American culture is arguably the biggest export out of the United States when it comes to the music, their way of dressing, their swag, their films, their movies. It all comes from African Americans. Heavily borrowed by everyone all over the place. So I actually have a great deal of respect and admiration. And then he feels the same way about the publisher culture.
And so even the Italian culture, I had to get used to eating big lasagnas and meals and stuff 3 times. I'm good to eating 1 time a day. I meet her, I'm like, oh man, we gotta eat again? I'm not hungry, okay, let me try to eat. So, and I just like, somebody has to want to do that. You have to want to make a good impression on the family, it's just good courtesy. It's common respect and courtesy. When you respect somebody, you respect their culture. So not saying you, but I'm saying if I was dating anyone, if I was dating Kenyan or Nigerian, I don't know, Sudanese, whatever, I'm going to learn about their culture and I'm going to respect it and try to, make it comfortable for both of us. Because you have to be comfortable with each other. And there's certain things, I know there's nuances in every culture, but if there's things that you understand and you don't know it doesn't sound right to you, go and look it up, research it, talk it over with your partner.
And I don't think we if we didn't have that mutual respect for each other and our cultures, that we would be in the space that we're in, or that we could have even, because he knew that when he married me, he married my family and he married my culture. So the Western way is very individualistic. It doesn't matter if the family likes you or not. He approached my family with a great deal of respect, came in and introduced himself, made his intentions known, and knew that he was marrying not only me but into my family and into our culture, and has accepted all of that. And that's why my family loves him as much as they do. They're quite literally obsessed with him.
And they better be.
They really are.
Okay. Do you have any parting shots?
Sorry. Oh, parting thoughts? Actually, just to piggyback off of what you said earlier, there was a meme that struck me that I saw online one time, and it's for the gentlemen specifically, because you all are the predators and we are the prey. So I need you all to do better decision making and choose wisely. And that meme said the following: it is not her face or her body that's going to raise your children; it is her mindset.
Thank you very much. I'm not even gonna say anything anymore.
I think the perfect example of that, if I may, to add
Mhm.
pop culture into this, is look at what Kanye West is going through right now.
Yeah, perfect
Yes.
example. Perfect.
When you
Yeah.
pick someone based on their face and their body, these are the consequences you live with.
Yeah. Well,
For you, what
Oh,
is sir?
for me,
Mhm.
I don't know. I've heard this is an African proverb. I don't know where, but it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Oh. I love that.
This is so great. I'm so happy to have you guys here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure.
We're honored.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be on your show.
It's my honor, honestly. So guys, we've got to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. As usual, if you have a problem with my point of view, take it out with the HR. You'll find me there because I'm the HR and that's you, period. Until next time, guys. Bye.